Hey, what's up, Mythguardians? Cool Cat here. And with Mythgard Season 2 now upon us, I decided that it would be a really great idea to come up with this video. It's going to be the top 5 decks for laddering in Mythgard Season 2. It's not just my own opinions. I did reach out to a few high-level players to see exactly what they would think, and then I just kind of smashed all of our lists together, and this is what we've come up with. Yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy these lists. And before we hop into the list, let's go ahead and do a quick shout out to my sponsor, Inked Gaming. As always, the link is down below in the description. But they are essentially a one-stop shop for all of your gaming needs, whether it's going to be physical games, they have play mats, they have card sleeves, whether it's going to be PC games, they have mouse pads, they have things like dice bags, they have you all covered. So check them out in the link down below, and get some sweet gaming gear. All right, and I have covered a couple of these decks before, so whenever, it's a deck that I've covered, I'll go ahead and have a little pop-up show up, so you can check that out if you're interested. But here is the top 5 decks, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with an honorable mention. It's going to go out to Blue-Green Reanimator. This is a combo deck. Essentially, you use your Disc of Circadia Path to discard a fatty, your Indric Beast, Living Mountain, Volcanic Rissy, whatever that may be. And then you'll play your Hopeless Necromantic, and then that'll die, bringing your big guy back onto the playfield, and then essentially end of the game turn 4 or 5 with some rush help from Frecky Sidecar and some additional assistance with things like Berserker Sickness and some additional pings from your Smite to close out the game. It's a very, very powerful anti-aggro deck, so if you are seeing a lot of aggression on the ladder wherever you're at, this is going to be a safe pickup. It's one of the easier Reanimator lists to play. And I did adjust the list that I found a little bit. I went ahead and swapped in some more mid-range options to make it a little less painful when you're not able to find your Hopeless Necromantic. So check out that list. Again, a very strong anti-aggro. It's also not too bad against some of the grindier options. You can usually just play stuff on curve, even if you don't have your Necro, and just end up dropping threat after threat after threat. And eventually they'll just run out of answers and you can close out the game. And then in the number 5 slot, we have one of my favorite decks, Blue-Red Rush. The nerfs did hit it very hard. The Demolition Speedway upping to 2 blue gems makes it a little harder to put out alongside a red 1-drop. So we went ahead and dropped a couple of the red 1-drops, swapped those in for some Frecky Scouts to smooth out your early game a little bit. But essentially, you're just going to go ahead and drop minions on curve, and then you're going to swing them at the opponent's face as often as you can, using your enchantments to boost up your damage and end the game. Like I said, the deck did slow down a little bit, so we probably going to end the game around turn 6 or 7. We added some more mid to late game options in the Black and Jotun, and then we also swapped in a couple of Magmatars as well for some more AoE removal. But the Frecky Sidecar is going to be an MVP in this list. It'll give rush to all of your blue minions, from your Kara Morning Wives, your Frecky Scouts, your Thanes, your Valkyrie Enforcers even, and your Black and Jotuns as well for some additional overrun. And then your Demolition Speedway, it's still going to be a key card in this list, giving your early rush minions overrun. So try to burn 2 blue gems early if you have the Demolition Speedway in hand. But again, it's always fine to just play your rush minions out on curve with no enchantments. It's still going to be great to very difficult for the opponent to deal with. And I went ahead and I swapped out the path. We're not going to be running Rainbow's End anymore. It's going to be more focused on Journey of Souls with that Speedway nerf. We're going to move away from the enchantments, and we're going to move more towards recycling the rush minions so that we can just keep pushing out that damage turn after turn. And this deck is exceptionally good when you're facing a lot of the greedier control or mid-range decks. Able to close out the games before they can get their late game value engines going is going to be key to winning those matchups. And in the number 4 slot, we have yellow-green combo. This deck has been hit by nerf after nerf after nerf again and again, but it's still just that good. It's very consistent. It has all of the early game defense you need. It has all of the card draw you need to assemble your combo. With the Volition nerf, we're going to go ahead and splash in some orange. We're going to run Lamp of Wonders and Dire Benediction for some orange splash, and that Dire Benediction is essentially going to serve as a second Volition to get that additional face damage in to close out the games. But the core of the deck is still going to be pretty much the same. You're just going to control the board early while you assemble your combo pieces with your amazing amount of card draw with your Clay Effigy, your Maze of Iatikus, Wonder Drug, Revelation of Zemek, and of course your Raid the Tombs as well. And then, you know, you're just going to drop a really big Boneyard Abomination, a really big Short Stag, Ikutursu, Volition, Swing Face, Dire Benediction, onto your big guy for a lot of damage really quickly. This deck is really great if you're up against a lot of defensive decks, a lot of the slower control decks that aren't as value-based. It's still really great against the value-based control decks, but there's better options for those decks, which we'll cover in just a minute, as well as the Blue-Red Rush that we were talking about just a second ago. You know, but this will kill any grindier decks. You know, it'll just burst them from however much health they're able to gain, and just end the game in one turn. And next, in the number 3 slot, we have the classic mono blue Rainbow Valkyries. This isn't the strongest deck in general, but it is a very consistent option. It's very strong on ladder, mostly because of its consistency. It's able to punish the greedier lists, and it's just really quick games, so you can grind out a lot of games really quickly. You know, even with a lower win rate than one of your slower decks, you'll still end up grinding more points because you can just close out so many more games. But essentially, you know, same as in the previous video, it's just a aggro slash mid-range deck based on board control, using your enchantments to get the most out of your super powerful on-curve drops. And then you'll close out the games with a couple of Allfather's Horns to really end the game quickly. And in the number 2 slot is a deck that I've been playing quite a bit recently on ladder. With the start of Season 2, I have a very great win rate with it. I'm currently 8-3. It is a little on the expensive side, so if you can't afford it, then that's no problem. Like I said, we have plenty of more affordable options for you, but there's not too much you can do to lower the cost on this one. This is going to be Aztec Control. It's basically just a lot of card draw and early game control in your Clay Effigies, your Maze of Iatikus, Meso Libre, Eager Recruits and Dark Passengers, Xerxian Recruiters, your Shadbahar Beasts, and of course your Parry at the Gates for some really good early game control and card draw. And then you'll move into your late game value engines like your Godsbane Transport, your Double Twins, Sapo the Devourer, your Herald of Pestilence. This is a very strong card that was very surprising for me. You have a lot of sweepers in this deck, so if you're facing a lot of go wide strategies or Valks as well, this is a very good option against those because it has the double Misanthropia, it has the Armageddon Angel. Herald of Pestilence is great against them as well, and just, you know, some really great early game control in the Meso Libre. Orbital Jamming Satellites, also a very strong card against your Reanimator decks because it'll allow you to suppress their Necromantic and then kill it off, and you don't have to worry about the big minion coming out of the Boneyard. And we also have the Seal of Exile to take those out as well. You know, so it pretty much covers all bases when it comes to a control deck. And like I said, it's a little more on the expensive side, but it's a very consistently strong option if you're looking for something of this strategy. And then in the number 1 slot, of course, is going to be Red Orange Stairway, Heaven and Hades, Stairway to Heaven, whatever you want to call it. Value Town, I've heard thrown around a little bit. It's the best deck in the game. It's amazingly flexible. You can rush them down by turn 5, or you can grind them out on turn 20. You know, you have plenty of options. You have your full rush package in the Trapezis, the Ironbelly Wyverns, and the Wings of Abaddon. You have your Oak of Dodonna for some healing and some additional value from your rush minions, Extract Life, Gigantomachia, and Armageddon Angel, as well as a couple of Seals of Exiles for some removal. You have insane value in the namesake enchantments to Heaven and Back and Stairway to Hades. So you can really outvalue most decks. You can rush a lot of decks as well. So, you know, depending on your draw, depending on your opponent, there's pretty much going to be a way to take a win from any deck that you face on the ladder, making this the #1 laddering deck for the start of Mythgard Season 2. So that is the list right there. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, you know, what you think of the decks, you know, if I got any of the ordering wrong or anything like that. Like the video if it helped you out at all, and make sure that you do subscribe for some more Mythgard content. And remember, GG for Matt.